Welcome back guys on my YouTube channel. Today I'm very excited because I'm here in company of her, the iconic KTM 990 Adventure, the bike that made the history at Dakar. And I decided to develop a specific rally kit to make it more modern, and also I took inspiration from the KTM Rally Replica 2025 model. In fact, we have the 2025 factory racing windshield, but also I designed some side panels that would remind you a bit of the old mighty KTM 690 Rally. On this particular build, I didn't go too much changing stuff. In fact, you see also the tires. These are road tires, they're not off-road tires. But since this bike has been built for professional photographer Luciano Consolini, a photographer that works with all the major brands from Porsche, LG, even Yamaha and other manufacturers, we did the first step of modernizing this bike, but then in the future we'll also add new accessories, so I won't go too much in the build, but I'll tell you about the rally kit. This new rally kit that will be commercialized by Rebel X and its distributors, but in which I took care of the design. We have the 2025 factory racing windshield. We have then the tower that is a mix of a steel and aluminum in order for it to be very sturdy, since this bike weighs a lot, and in case of crash, you want the tower to be safe. Still, it should weigh less than all the OEM headlight and tower assembly. For this kit, there will be also 3 different headlight options. In this case, we have the Rebel Street Legal LED lights. They are 15 watt output each, plus we have a position light. So this is street legal, but for those, especially in the US, that don't really need street legal version and want more light power, we have the Baja design model. So with the S1, that makes really a lot of light. On the Baja model, we have a different housing. Then the last and most expensive option will be the official OEM KTM headlight that is also TÜV approved. In that case, the price gap is very high because these homologated TÜV approved lights are super expensive. Even though the 2025 Rally Replica doesn't have side panels, for this bike having this big tank, I wanted really to design the side panels and give it a different look, so mix the past with the modern. I think we achieved a great result. These we modeled by hand and then we made the mold. Other than giving a cool look to the bike, they also protect more the windshield. In order to do a proper job and do it nicely, we had to remove the ignition key from here. It was usually on the triple clamps, but this would have made the tower have to sit very far forward. What happens, the further you go with the tower, the more you feel the weight, so it's always better to keep the devices and the weight closest to your handlebar. To achieve this, we moved the ignition key on the side of the tower and we made this 3D printed plastic housing to make it look better. Then one thing I didn't mention, the headlight has a tilt angle, so you can adjust the tilt angle, because depending on how you set your suspensions, you might need to tilt a bit the angle of the lights. The OEM dashboard basically sits almost in the same position, and the digital road book tablet GPS mount has a tilt angle. On this, you see the optional version that lets you also fit a Tripmaster or a Stella or a Speedo cap, but OEM, the tower will come with a bracket for all the devices, but without the upper section for the Tripmaster, as most adventure riders don't need it. It's more for the rally riders taking part in rally races. From the rider's point of view, you see the devices I set up here. It's a Garmin Tread. This is the 8-inch model, and a Nikon Max G Tripmaster, so that you'll have with the antenna the Tripmaster working and you won't have to wire any cable. We didn't place on the bike yet, but we will then change the light switch and probably put the command in order for Luciano to command his Garmin device. On this side of the tower, we have the dual USB ports with voltmeter display, so you'll know if you have enough charge on the battery, and you can turn it on and off. Another thing that is on the tower but not on this particular build is the fuse box that goes here on the side so that you can wire different devices and different accessories. From this view, you also see the Rally Replica handguards. You always ask me, just contact Rebel X. They have them in stock in black, white or orange. Selle dalla Valle seat cover. You know this could not miss on any of my builds. This particular seat, I didn't modify it. Luciano already had it modified. We made the seat cover, you know, with a quick dry leather. We made it nice and wide so that it's comfortable even when you use the bike with normal pants. And then in the back, we have the 5 canal humps with the memory foam underneath. On the side, we have the nice carbon. Another thing we did on this bike is we lowered the bike. So we shortened the suspensions because it was too high, since this was a used bike that Luciano got from a guy that was like 2 meters tall. So it was really, really high. And also the weight was difficult to move the bike. And that's why you see it a bit lower. Last but not least, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I have many industrial machines that give me the opportunity to play around and really be creative. So having the plotter to print graphics and the laminating machine and everything, I custom designed this graphic. I wanted to make it look really minimal and clean. I'm a minimalist guy, so I like clean designs, and sometimes I think it's more difficult to obtain a good result putting less than putting more. We then went for the matte graphics. The reason is because when you take photos of your bike, the gloss, yes, is nice, but it has lots of reflections. So if you're a photography enthusiast like me, or a pro photographer like Luciano, having a matte finish will really help you do some very awesome photos where you can see all the details and all the lines of the plastic. So I love the design of this bike, how it turned out. Now it's time for you to let me know in the comments down below what you think about this bike. If you are an owner of the 990 or 950 adventure bikes, but most of all, one thing I'm curious about is if this bike I built is itching you a bit that you would want this kit, or if you're not interested and simply like more the OEM setup. Now be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel to keep updated with the bike builds, and I'm bringing, you know, also a lot of test reviews of motorbikes and adventure and dual sport. Follow me on Instagram to see live content, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!